The silver spaceship moved slowly through the dark space between stars. Its name was Harmony's Edge, and it carried scientists from different planets across the galaxy. Commander Hyunwoo stood on the bridge looking at the screen that showed their destination. The planet below them was green and brown with white clouds spinning around it like cotton candy. "We are close now," said Dr. Nayla from behind him. She was tall with dark green scales that caught the light from the control panels. Her yellow eyes never blinked as she studied the readings on her tablet. "The planet shows many life signs. Very many." Hyunwoo nodded. He had been waiting for this mission for 2 years. Finding new planets with life was the most important work in the galaxy. Every new world could teach them something about how life grows and changes. "What do the sensors tell us?" he asked. Vex spoke up from the science station. The crystal being's voice sounded like music played through glass. "The atmosphere has oxygen and nitrogen. Temperature is good for many species. But there are strange readings from the surface. Something we have not seen before." Hyunwoo walked over to look at Vex's screen. Numbers and charts filled the display. Most of it looked normal for a living planet. Plants making oxygen, animals breathing it, water moving in cycles. But some readings were different. "These spore levels," Hyunwoo said, pointing at red numbers that kept changing. "They are very high." "Yes," Vex replied. "The entire planet seems covered in fungal growth. Much more than any world in our database. It could be dangerous, Doctor." Nala moved closer to see the readings. Her forked tongue flicked out to taste the air, a habit she had when thinking hard. "We should be very careful. Unknown fungi can be deadly. My people learned this the hard way on Nexus 7. Hyunwoo remembered that story. An entire reptilian colony had been lost to toxic mushrooms that released poison gas. Since then, all galactic exploration teams followed strict rules about biological hazards. "Sir," called the communications officer from across the bridge, "I am picking up signals from the planet. They are not natural." Everyone turned to look at the young officer. His blue skin grew darker when he was nervous, and right now he was almost purple. "What kind of signals?" Hyunwoo asked. "Artificial? Satellites. Communication arrays. And sir, there is a large ship in orbit on the far side of the planet." The bridge went quiet. Finding a planet with life was exciting. Finding a planet with intelligent life was rare, but finding a planet that someone else had already discovered was complicated. "Can you identify the ship?" Hyunwoo asked. The officer worked at his controls for several minutes. "Yes, sir. It is a human vessel. Registration shows it as the new Soul, colony-class ship with full scientific equipment," Dr. Nala hissed softly. "Humans. I should have known. Hyunwoo had mixed feelings about humans. They were new to galactic society, only making contact 50 years ago. They were eager to explore and learn, but they often ignored safety rules. Many species found them reckless and hard to understand." "How long have they been here?" he asked. Scanning. "Their orbital patterns," the officer replied. "It looks like 3 months, sir." 3 months! Vex's crystal body flashed bright red with alarm. "They have been here for 3 months without reporting to the Galactic Council?" "That is against protocols," Dr. Nala agreed. "All new planet discoveries must be reported immediately." Hyunwoo sighed. This was going to be difficult. The Galactic Council had rules about new planets. They were supposed to be studied carefully by mixed teams of scientists. No one species was allowed to claim a world for themselves until proper surveys were complete. "Try to contact them," he ordered. The communications officer nodded and began sending signals toward the human ship. While they waited for a response, Hyunwoo thought about what to do. He could report the humans to the council, but that would take months to resolve. He could try to work with them, but humans were known for being stubborn about their projects. "Incoming transmission," the officer announced. A woman's face appeared on the main screen. She had short black hair and friendly eyes. She wore a blue uniform with captain's stripes. "Greetings," she said with a smile. "I am Captain Bora of the New Soul. Welcome to Kepler 442c. We were not expecting other visitors." Hyunwoo stepped forward. "I am Commander Hyunwoo of the galactic vessel Harmony's Edge. We are here on an official survey mission authorized by the Science Council." Captain Bora's smile did not change, but her eyes became more careful. "Of course. We have been conducting our own research here. Perhaps we can share information." "You have been here for 3 months without filing proper reports," Dr. Nala said, moving into view of the camera. "This violates several galactic treaties." "Ah," Bora replied. "You must be Dr. Nala. We have read your papers on xenobiology. Very impressive work." She paused. "We have been following all safety protocols. We just wanted to complete our initial surveys before making any formal announcements." Vex joined the conversation. "The planet shows extremely high levels of biological activity, specifically fungal spores in the atmosphere. How have you been managing contamination risks?" Something changed in Bora's expression. A look that might have been amusement crossed her face. "We have had no problems with contamination. In fact, we have established a permanent research station on the surface." The bridge of Harmony's Edge went silent. Even the hum of the engines seemed quieter. Dr. Nala's scales turned almost black with shock. "You have people on the surface?" Vex asked, crystal body flashing rapidly between colors. "In direct contact with the fungal environment?" "Of course," Bora said. "How else would we study it properly? Our xenobiologist, Dr. Tae-jin, has made remarkable discoveries. The ecosystem here is unlike anything we have seen." Hyunwoo felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Either the humans had better protective equipment than anyone in the galaxy, or they were taking risks that would horrify most species. "Captain Bora," he said carefully, "we would like to arrange a joint research mission. Our teams could work together and share data." "That would be wonderful," she replied. "Dr. Tae-jin would be excited to show you what we have found. When would you like to visit the surface?" Dr. Nala made a choking sound. Vex's crystal form went completely clear with shock. "We will need time to prepare proper safety equipment," Hyunwoo said. Bora looked confused. "Safety equipment? Commander, the environment here is perfectly safe. We have been walking around without suits for weeks." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of Harmony's Edge in stunned silence. 3 species that had survived by being careful and following rules were about to work with humans who seemed to have no fear of death itself. The next morning, both ships prepared to visit the planet's surface. Commander Hyunwoo watched his crew check their equipment 3 times. Every seal on their protective suits had to be perfect. Every air filter had to work without fail. 1 mistake could mean death for his entire team. Dr. Nala stood in the equipment bay holding her helmet. The thick glass faceplate was covered with sensors and filters. "I do not like this," she said to Vex. "My species has protocols for fungal worlds. We study them from orbit for at least 5 years before landing." Vex's crystal body pulsed with nervous light. "My people once lost an entire research station to airborne toxins. 47 scientists died in less than an hour. The emergency signals stopped before help could arrive." Hyunwoo put on his own suit. It was heavy and made moving difficult, but it would keep him alive in almost any dangerous environment. "We will follow all safety rules," he said. "Stay together. Do not remove any part of your suits. Do not touch anything directly." The transport ship carried them down through the planet's atmosphere. Through the thick windows, they could see the world below becoming clearer. What they saw made everyone go quiet. The entire planet looked like it was covered in a soft-colored blanket. Giant mushrooms grew everywhere, some as tall as earth trees. Their caps spread wide like umbrellas, creating a canopy that blocked most of the sunlight. Between the giant mushrooms, Smaller fungi grew in every color possible. Red ones that glowed, like fire. Blue ones that sparkled like jewels. Purple ones that seemed to move even when there was no wind. The spore density is incredible, Vex said, reading the sensors. The air is thick with millions of different fungal particles. Dr. Nala watched the numbers on her screen climb higher and higher. These readings are beyond anything in our databases. The toxicity levels would kill most known species in minutes. As they flew lower, they could see clouds of spores drifting between the mushroom trees like colorful fog. Some clouds were so thick they could not see through them. Others glittered in the sunlight like dancing stars. There, Hyunwoo pointed ahead. The Human Research Station, a cluster of white buildings, sat in a clearing among the giant fungi. Solar panels caught the filtered sunlight. Communication dishes pointed up at the sky. It looked like any normal research base except for one thing. There were no protective domes, no sealed walkways, no emergency shelters. The buildings were open to the air. "That is impossible," Dr. Nala whispered. "They cannot survive in that environment." Their transport landed on a flat area near the human base. Through the windows, they could see several people walking between the buildings. None of them wore protective suits. They moved freely in the spore-filled air like they were taking a walk in a park. "Sensors show the spore concentration here is even higher than average," Vex reported. "How are they still alive?" A human approached their transport. It was a woman with long black hair pulled back in a simple tail. She wore regular clothes and boots, no helmet, no breathing apparatus, no protective gear at all. She knocked on their door and smiled. Hyunwoo opened the communication channel. "We cannot exit without proper safety protocols," he said. The woman laughed. "You really do not need all that equipment. The air here is perfectly safe. I am Dr. Jin A, the team botanist. Captain Bora sent me to welcome you." "Dr. Jin A," Vex said carefully. "Our sensors indicate lethal levels of toxic spores in the atmosphere. How are you surviving?" "Toxic?" Jin A looked confused. "These spores are harmless. We have been breathing them for months. Some of them actually smell quite nice." Dr. Nala made a horrified sound. "She is breathing concentrated neurotoxins and calling them pleasant." Jin A gestured for them to follow her. "Come on. Dr. Tae-jin is waiting to show you the fungal gardens. You are going to love what we have discovered." Reluctantly, the alien team left their transport. Their suits made them move slowly and carefully. Each step had to be planned. Each breath had to be filtered and cleaned. Meanwhile, Jin-A walked beside them, chatting happily about the weather. "The morning spore clouds are particularly beautiful today," she said. "Yesterday we had this amazing pink and gold combination that lasted for hours." They walked through what Jin-A called the gardens. Everywhere they looked, impossible things grew. Mushrooms taller than buildings swayed gently in the breeze. Smaller fungi covered every surface in carpets of living color, and floating through it all were the spores, billions upon billions of tiny particles that should have killed everything they touched. "Here we are," Ginny said, stopping at a large building. "This is our main research lab." The building had big windows and open doorways, no airlocks, no decontamination chambers. Inside, they could see humans working at computers and examining samples, all of them breathing the deadly air. Dr. Tae-jin met them at the entrance. He was a middle-aged man with kind eyes and a big smile. His clothes were covered in colorful dust that the alien team realized were spores. "Welcome to paradise," he said. "I know this place looks dangerous to most species, but I promise you it is amazing once you understand it." Dr. Tae-jin, Hyunwoo, said through his suit's speaker, "Our equipment shows that the air here contains enough toxins to dissolve organic tissue. How is your team surviving?" Tae-jin brushed some blue spores off his sleeve. "These little things, they are completely harmless to humans. In fact, some of them are quite nutritious. We have been using them in our cooking." The alien team stood in shocked silence. The humans were not just surviving in a toxic environment, they were eating it. Would you like to see our spore collection? Taejin asked. We have cataloged over 300 different varieties so far. Each one has its own unique properties and flavors. Flavors? Dr. Nala whispered. Oh yes, Jin-A said. Some taste nutty. Others are more fruity. There is this one purple variety that tastes exactly like chocolate cake. Vex's crystal body turned completely white with shock. These humans were treating deadly toxins like a menu at a restaurant. Perhaps, Hyunwoo said carefully. You could show us your safety equipment first? Taejin and Jin-A looked at each other and started laughing. Safety equipment? Taejin said. The only safety equipment we need here is sunscreen. The spores actually protect us from harmful radiation. As they talked, more spore clouds drifted past the building. The humans watched them go by like they were enjoying a sunset. The aliens watched them like they were witnessing a miracle. How could any species be so perfectly adapted to something so perfectly deadly? The next day brought the joint research mission to the deep fungal forests. Commander Hyunwoo led his suited team through towering mushroom trees that reached toward the clouded sky. Every step they took sent up puffs of colorful spores from the soft ground beneath their feet. Dr. Taejin walked ahead of them without any protection. His regular clothes were covered in a rainbow of fungal dust. He stopped often to point out interesting specimens growing on the massive tree trunks. This purple one here, he said, touching a cluster of small mushrooms with his bare hand, releases spores that smell like vanilla and cinnamon. My colleague Minho has been using them to flavor our coffee. Dr. Nala watched through her helmet's thick glass as deadly toxins coated the human's fingers. According to her suit's sensors, those same spores could dissolve her scales in seconds. Yet Taejin handled them like picking flowers from a garden. The readings here are off our charts, Vex reported quietly to the alien team. The spore density is 10 times higher than at the research station. They walked deeper into the forest where the mushroom caps grew so thick they blocked most of the sunlight. Strange glowing fungi provided the only light. The air shimmered, with billions of floating particles. Dr. Taejin, Hyunwoo called through his speaker. Should we not be concerned about the increased toxicity levels? The human scientist turned back with a puzzled expression. Toxicity? Commander, I think your equipment might be malfunctioning. The air here is actually quite clean, much better than most cities back on Earth. Behind them walked 2 more humans, from the research team. Ji-hee was the mission leader, a woman with short hair who took notes on everything they saw. Dong-soo was the botanist, a young man who collected samples in simple glass containers with no protective seals. Oh, look, Ji-hee said suddenly, pointing ahead. A spore bloom. The alien team looked where she was pointing and felt their hearts stop. A massive cloud of concentrated spores was drifting toward them through the trees. It was thick enough to block their vision and glowed with an evil purple light. Their sensors immediately began screaming warnings. Emergency protocols, Dr. Nala shouted. Everyone move to minimum safe distance immediately. The aliens began backing away from the approaching cloud. Their heavy suits made quick movement difficult, but they managed to put several hundred meters between themselves and the toxic mass. Wait, Hyunwoo called to the humans. You need to retreat as well. That concentration of spores will kill you instantly. But the humans did not move. Instead, they stood waiting as the purple cloud engulfed them completely. For several terrifying minutes, the aliens could not see them at all through the thick fungal fog. We have lost visual contact, Vex reported. Sensor readings show spore, concentrations that would be lethal to 847 known species. Should we call for emergency medical evacuation? Asked the communications officer through the radio. Before Hyunwoo could answer, they heard something impossible, laughter. Human voices talking and joking inside the deadly cloud. The humans are still alive, Dr. Nala whispered in disbelief. Slowly, the spore cloud began to thin and drift away. As their vision cleared, the aliens saw all three humans standing exactly where they had been before. They were covered from head to toe in purple fungal dust, but they were smiling. Dr. Tae-jin took a deep breath of the spore-filled air and closed his eyes with pleasure. Ah, this reminds me of a fine vintage Brie I had in Paris years ago. Complex, earthy, with just a hint of ammonia that gives it character. The alien team stared in absolute horror as the human scientist continued breathing the concentrated toxins, like he was sampling expensive wine. I agree, Ji-hee said, brushing purple dust from her clothes. Though I detect some nutty undertones as well, almost like aged cheese mixed with fresh mushrooms. Dong-soo nodded and made notes in his journal. The aroma has depth, multiple layers of flavor that develop as you breathe it in. I would rate this as one of the better spore clouds we have encountered. The humans were not just surviving direct contact with concentrated neurotoxins. They were reviewing them like food critics. This cannot be happening, Dr. Nala said through her suit's communication system. They are inhaling enough poison to kill 1,000 of my people. Vex ran continuous scans on the humans from a distance. All their vital signs are normal. Better than normal, actually. Their heart rates are relaxed. Their brain activity shows no signs of toxicity damage. Hyun-woo watched as Tae-jin cupped his hands and caught some of the falling spores. The human brought them close to his nose and inhaled deeply. Definitely similar to French Brie, he said, but with some unique characteristics. The purple varieties seem to have a smoky quality that the blue ones lack. Dr. Tae-jin, Hyun-woo called out, are you feeling any effects from the spore exposure? The human looked confused by the question. Effects? Well, I suppose it makes me a bit hungry. These fungal scents always remind me of good food. Ji-hee laughed. That is because Min-ho has been cooking with them. Your brain associates the smell with dinner time. Speaking of which, Dong-soo said, checking his watch, we should head back soon. Min-ho promised to make that spore-crusted fish he has been experimenting with. The three humans began walking back toward their research station, leaving trails of purple footprints in the soft ground. They chatted about their plans for dinner and which spore varieties would make the best seasoning. The alien team followed at a safe distance, their sensors still screaming warnings about the toxic environment. They were witnessing something that challenged everything they knew about biology and survival. Commander, Dr. Nala said quietly, we need to report this to the Galactic Council immediately. This changes everything we understand about human physiology. Agreed, Vex added. If humans can survive in conditions that would kill most galactic species, it means they could colonize worlds we consider completely uninhabitable. Hyun-woo watched the humans disappear into the fungal forest ahead of them. Three people walking, casually through an environment that would be considered a death trap by every other known civilization. What other impossible things could humans do? 3 days passed, and the human research team showed no signs of sickness or death. Commander Hyun-woo watched through his helmet as Dr. Tae-jin worked in the open laboratory, handling concentrated spore samples with his bare hands like they were harmless dust. Dr. Nala had not slept since witnessing the spore bloom incident. She ran test after test on the air samples they collected, trying to understand how anything could survive such toxicity levels. Every result showed the same thing. The spores contained complex neurotoxins that should dissolve living tissue on contact. It makes no sense, she told Vex while reviewing the latest data. According to everything we know about biology, those humans should have been dead within minutes of exposure. Vex's crystal form pulsed with confused colors. I have contacted my home world's greatest scientists. They confirm our readings. The toxicity levels here would kill any known species except for 3 that require specialized breathing apparatus. Which? 3 species? Hyun-woo asked. The rock creatures from Granite Prime who breathe through filtered stone chambers. The gas beings from the nebula sector who exist in pure energy form. And the deep space whale creatures who live in the vacuum between stars. So the only species that could survive here naturally do not even have normal biology, Dr. Nala said. Yet humans walk around breathing this poison like it is fresh mountain air. That afternoon, Captain Bora invited the alien team to join the humans for their evening meal. Hyunwoo accepted, hoping to learn more about how they were surviving. The Yao dining hall was a simple room with large windows looking out at the fungal forest. No special air filters, no protective barriers, just regular furniture and normal lighting. Chef Min-ho greeted them with enthusiasm. He was a short man with a big smile who clearly loved his work. "Tonight we have spore-crusted salmon with blue mushroom sauce," he announced. "The spores were collected fresh this morning from the grove near the river." The alien team watched in fascination and horror as Min-ho prepared the meal. He sprinkled colorful spores over the fish like salt and pepper. He stirred purple fungal powder into sauces like it was ordinary seasoning. He tasted everything directly from his finger to check the flavors. "The red spores add heat like chili peppers," he explained to his audience. "The yellow ones are sweet like honey, and these little white ones taste exactly like garlic." Dr. Tae-jin joined them at the table carrying a glass of what looked like normal water. But when he set it down, the alien team could see it was filled with floating spore particles. "Spore tea," he explained. "Very refreshing after a long day in the field. Want to try some?" 3 alien scientists nearly fainted inside their protective suits. "Dr. Tae-jin," Hyunwoo said carefully, "we need to understand something. Our tests show that everything you are consuming contains deadly toxins. How is your species able to process these substances safely?" Tae-jin looked surprised by the question. "Toxins? I think there might be some confusion. These spores are not toxic to humans. In fact, many of them contain useful vitamins and minerals." "But our sensors," Dr. Nala began, "are probably calibrated for your species," Ji-hai interrupted, gently. "What is poison to you might be perfectly safe for us, just like humans cannot eat many foods that other earth animals enjoy." Dong-su nodded agreement. "Chocolate is deadly to dogs, but harmless to humans. Some mushrooms that would kill. Most mammals are considered delicacies in human cuisine." "Wait," Vex said, crystal body flashing with sudden understanding. "Are you saying that humans evolved alongside toxic fungi on your home world?" "Of course," Tae-jin replied. "Earth has thousands of fungal species. Many of them produce chemicals that are dangerous to other animals but not to humans. We have been eating mushrooms for millions of years." Min-ho brought over a plate of his prepared fish. The colorful spore coating sparkled in the light. "In fact, some of the mushrooms on Earth are much more dangerous than anything we have found here. Death caps, destroying angels, deadly web caps. They make these local spores look like candy." The alien team processed this information in stunned silence. Humans came from a world so dangerous that the planet they currently considered a death trap was actually safer than the human home environment. "How many toxic species exist on Earth?" Dr. Nala asked. "Oh, thousands," Tae-jin said casually. "Poisonous plants, venomous animals, toxic bacteria, dangerous fungi. Human evolution was shaped by constant exposure to biological hazards. That explains their immunity," Vex whispered to the others. "Their digestive and respiratory systems developed to handle toxins that would kill other species." Captain Bora overheard the conversation. "Is that why you wear those heavy suits? Because these spores are dangerous to your people?" "Extremely dangerous," Hyunwoo confirmed. "Direct exposure would kill us in minutes." "How terrible," she said, with genuine sympathy. "You are missing out on such a beautiful experience. The spores create the most amazing colors in the sunset, and the way they make the forest glow at night is magical." "You think this environment is beautiful?" Dr. Nala asked. "Of course," Ji-hai replied. "It reminds us of the old mushroom forests back on Earth. Some of our most peaceful places had similar fungal ecosystems, though those were much more dangerous," Dong-su added. At least here we do not have to worry about bears or wolves hiding. In the undergrowth. The humans continued eating their spore-covered meal while discussing the scenic beauty of their toxic paradise. Meanwhile, the alien team tried to understand the implications of what they were learning. If humans can colonize worlds that are uninhabitable to other species, Vex said quietly, they could claim entire sectors of space that we consider worthless dead zones. More than that, Hyun-woo realized, they could establish bases on worlds that would serve as natural barriers against invasion. Who would attack a planet that kills you just by breathing the air? Dr. Nala watched Minho bring out dessert. It was some kind of cake decorated with glowing spores that pulsed with soft light. They are not just surviving in an impossible environment, she said. They are thriving in it. They have made it their home. As the meal ended, the humans began planning their next day's activities. They talked about exploring deeper parts of the fungal forest and collecting new spore varieties to study. They discussed it like planning a picnic in a park. The alien team listened and realized they were witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history, a species that could call home what everyone else called hell, and they were just getting started. Within 1 week of the joint research mission, news about the human colonies spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Commander Hyun-woo sent his report to the Galactic Council with full video documentation of humans living safely in what every other species considered a death world. The response was immediate and panicked. Commander Hyun-woo, came the urgent transmission from Council Leader Zenth. Please confirm that your report is accurate. Humans are truly colonizing a Class 12 extinction zone? Confirmed, Hyun-woo replied. They have been living here for 3 months with no protective equipment. They are using the toxic spores as food seasoning. A long silence followed. Then Zenth's voice returned, sounding strained. How many humans are on the surface? 47 researchers and support staff. Captain Bora indicates they are expecting 2 more colony ships next month with additional families. The communication ended abruptly. Within hours, Hyun-woo began receiving frantic messages from across the galaxy. The Reptilian High Command wanted to know if humans posed a biological threat to other species. The Crystal Collective demanded emergency sessions to discuss human immunity. The Gas Cloud Federation asked if humans were planning to colonize other forbidden worlds. Dr. Nala found herself overwhelmed with requests from xenobiologists everywhere. Universities wanted copies of her research. Medical centers asked for tissue samples. Military organizations inquired about human defensive capabilities. This is chaos, she told Vex while sorting through the hundreds of incoming messages. Half. The galaxy wants to study them and the other half wants to quarantine them. Meanwhile, the humans continued their normal daily activities. Dr. Tae Jin published his research papers about local fungal ecosystems in the standard galactic journals. His casual descriptions of handling deadly toxins caused panic among readers, who knew what those same substances could do to their own species. One paper titled Nutritional Benefits of Kepler 442c Spore Consumption became the most downloaded scientific document in galactic history. It included recipes. Captain Bora received official communications from the Galactic Safety Council ordering immediate evacuation of all human personnel from the hazardous environment. She politely declined, explaining that the environment was not hazardous to humans, and that evacuation would be unnecessary. The Safety Council responded by sending emergency rescue ships equipped with medical facilities for treating toxic exposure victims. When they arrived, they found humans playing sports in the fungal gardens and having outdoor barbecues. We appreciate your concern, Bora told the rescue coordinator. But as you can see, we are perfectly healthy. Perhaps you would like to join us for dinner? Minho is making his famous spore-seasoned grilled vegetables. The rescue ships remained in orbit, uncertain of what to do. Their medical teams had trained for evacuating poisoning victims, not for watching people enjoy eating the poison. More ships arrived daily. Science vessels from 12 different star systems came to observe the impossible humans. Military scouts came to assess potential threats. Tourist organizations began planning observation tours from a safe distance. The humans found all the attention amusing but puzzling. "I do not understand why everyone is so excited," HFY told the gathering crowd of alien observers. "Humans have always lived in dangerous environments. This place is actually quite peaceful compared to Earth." Her comment was recorded and transmitted across the galaxy, causing even more confusion. If this death world was peaceful compared to the human home planet, what kind of nightmare environment had produced these creatures? Dr. Tae-jin began giving daily lectures to the visiting alien scientists. He explained human evolution and how exposure to toxins had shaped their biology. He showed them examples of Earth fungi that were far more dangerous than anything on Kepler 442c. "The destroying angel mushroom," he said, holding up a picture, "can kill a human with just a small taste. We learn to identify and avoid the truly dangerous species while adapting to consume the safer varieties." The alien audience listened in horrified fascination as he described a world where deadly organisms grew everywhere and humans had survived by becoming more adaptable than their environment. Back on Earth, the human government received thousands of requests from galactic civilizations. Some wanted to establish trade relationships with the species that could colonize impossible worlds. Others wanted to form defensive alliances with beings who were naturally immune to biological warfare. Few requests were more concerning. Several military organizations inquired about hiring human soldiers who could fight in environments that would kill their enemies. The requests were politely declined, but they revealed how other species were beginning to think about human capabilities. Engineer. Subin saw opportunity in all the attention. She proposed establishing the galaxy's first extreme environment tourism industry on Kepler 442c. Visitors could observe humans in their natural toxic habitat from the safety of sealed observation facilities. "Think about it," she explained to Captain Bora. "Other species find us fascinating because we can do something they consider impossible. We could build comfortable viewing stations where they can watch us work and live normally in conditions they consider deadly." "Would that not be like putting ourselves in a zoo?" Dongsu asked. "More like a nature preserve," Subin replied. "We continue our research and they get to see something amazing. Everyone benefits." The proposal was approved and construction began on the galaxy's first human habitat observation center. Advanced booking filled up for the next 2 years within days of the announcement. Dr. Nala received permission to establish a permanent research station in orbit around Kepler 442c. She wanted to study human adaptation mechanisms and perhaps discover ways to help other species survive in harsh environments. "If we can understand how humans process these toxins," she explained to Vex, "we might be able to develop treatments or genetic modifications for other species. Or we might discover that human immunity is too complex to replicate," Vex replied. "Their entire evolutionary history contributed to this ability. It cannot be easily copied." As more researchers arrived to study the humans, Kepler 442c became one of the busiest systems in the galaxy. Ships from dozens of worlds filled the orbital space around the planet. The humans below continued their work, largely unaware that they had become the most studied species in known space. "It is strange," Tae-jin said to his colleagues over dinner. "We came here to study fungal ecosystems and ended up teaching the galaxy about human biology. At least the attention is bringing funding for our research," HFY pointed out. "The Galactic Council has approved grants for expanded studies of human-compatible worlds." Minho served his latest creation, a soup made with 7 different varieties of local spores. "I just hope they do not expect us to change our cooking because it makes them nervous. This spore blend took weeks to perfect." Outside their dining hall, dozens of alien observers watched through protective barriers as the humans casually consumed what they considered weapons-grade biological toxins. The Watchers took detailed notes and recorded everything for analysis by scientists across the galaxy. Humanity had found their place in galactic society not through advanced technology or superior firepower, but through their simple ability to call home what others called impossible. 6 months later, Kepler 442c had become the most unlikely success story in galactic history. The human colony had grown to over 200 people, with families arriving monthly to join the thriving research community. Children played in gardens, filled with glowing mushrooms while their parents worked alongside scientists from across the galaxy. Commander Hyun-woo stood in the newly completed observation center, watching human colonists through reinforced viewing windows. They moved freely through their toxic paradise, breathing deadly spores like fresh air and harvesting fungal specimens with their bare hands. "It still amazes me," Dr. Nala said, joining him at the window. Her permanent research station orbited overhead, filled with xenobiologists studying human adaptation. 6 months of observation, and we are only beginning to understand how they do it. The humans below were hosting their weekly Spore Festival, a celebration that had become popular entertainment for visiting aliens. Families gathered in the fungal gardens to watch colorful spore clouds drift between the mushroom trees. Children caught the glowing particles in their hands, while adults sampled different varieties like wine tasting. Dr. Tae-jin has identified over 400 distinct spore types, Vex reported from the science station. The crystal being had established a permanent research partnership with the human team. Each one contains compounds that would be lethal to most galactic species, yet humans find many of them nutritionally beneficial. Through the viewing window, they could see Tae-jin leading a group of young colonists on an educational walk through the forest. He pointed out different mushroom species and explained their ecological roles. The children listened eagerly, occasionally, reaching out to touch specimens that could kill adult aliens in seconds. "The children are even more adapted than their parents," Dr. Nala observed. "They seem to instinctively know which spores are safe to handle and which varieties taste best." Captain Bo-Ra approached the observation window from inside the habitat area. She had become the unofficial ambassador between humans and the dozens of alien species now studying the colony. "Good morning, Commander Hyun-woo," she said through the communication system. "Are your observers ready for today's demonstration?" "What kind of demonstration?" he asked. "Subin has developed a new agricultural technique. She is going to show how we can cultivate spore-producing fungi for both food and medicine. Some of the compounds we are harvesting have remarkable healing properties for human physiology. In the months since establishing their colony, the humans had made discoveries that revolutionized galactic understanding of fungal biology. Their ability to work directly with toxic organisms had led to breakthroughs in medicine, agriculture, and environmental science. Dr. Tae-jin published research showing that certain spore combinations could cure diseases that plagued other galactic species. However, the manufacturing process required direct handling of substances that would kill the patients they were meant to help. "We have solved the production problem," Bo-Ra continued. "Human workers can safely harvest and process the medical compounds. Other species can benefit from the treatments without any risk of exposure to the raw materials." This had led to the galaxy's first human-alien medical partnership. Human colonies on toxic worlds could produce life-saving medicines for species across the galaxy, while those same species provided technology and resources the humans needed for expansion. "The economic implications are staggering," Vex noted. "Humans can establish profitable colonies on worlds that other species cannot even visit safely. It completely changes the dynamics of galactic expansion." The Galactic Council had officially recognized human rights to colonize any world classified as biologically hazardous to other species. In return, humans agreed to share medical and scientific discoveries made on those worlds. "It is a perfect partnership," Commander Hyun-woo realized. "Humans get new worlds to explore and colonize. Other species get access to resources from those worlds without risking their lives." Below them, The demonstration began. Subin had constructed cultivation beds filled with different fungal species. She walked among them without protection, harvesting glowing mushrooms and collecting spore samples in simple glass containers. "Those spores she is collecting," Dr. Nala said, checking her sensors, "contain concentrated neurotoxins that my species uses for warfare. She is handling them like picking berries." Subin noticed the observers and waved cheerfully. She held up a container filled with purple spores that sparkled in the filtered sunlight. "These ones taste like chocolate," she called out. "Perfect for Minho's new dessert recipes." The alien observers made detailed notes while maintaining safe distances. From the viewing windows, they were witnessing casual interaction with substances that their own species considered weapons of mass destruction. As the day progressed, more activities showcased the unique human abilities. Children raced through spore clouds during their playtime. Adults worked in research labs handling toxic specimens with no protective equipment. Families enjoyed picnic lunches seasoned with compounds that could dissolve alien tissue. "I have a proposal," Commander Hyun-woo announced to both the human colony and the alien research teams. "We should formalize this arrangement, the first official human-alien extreme environment research partnership." "What would that involve?" Captain Bo-Ra asked. "Humans continue expanding to hazardous worlds that other species cannot colonize. You conduct research and produce materials that benefit the entire galaxy. In exchange, participating alien civilizations provide technological support, transportation, and scientific collaboration." Dr. Nala's scales brightened with excitement. "My people could provide advanced sensor equipment and orbital facilities. Humans could access environments we never dreamed of studying safely. The Crystal Collective could contribute energy systems and communication networks," Vex added. "Our technology combined with human biological immunity could unlock secrets of the most dangerous worlds in the galaxy." The partnership agreement was drafted over the following weeks. Representatives from 15 different species signed accords establishing cooperation protocols for extreme environment exploration. Humans would serve as the biological interface for hazardous worlds, while other species contributed their specialized technologies and knowledge. The first joint mission launched 3 months later, targeting a world where the atmosphere itself was acidic enough to dissolve most known materials. While alien partners remained safely in orbit, human teams established research bases on the surface and began studying the unique chemistry of the hostile environment. Dr. Tae-jin opened the galaxy's first extreme environment tasting center at the Kepler 442c colony. It featured guided experiences where humans demonstrated safe interaction with various toxic substances, while alien observers watched from protective viewing areas. "Welcome to our little slice of paradise," he would tell each new group of visitors. "Today you will see why humans consider this beautiful world to be one of the safest places we have ever lived." The center became so popular that reservations were booked years in advance. Species from across the galaxy traveled to witness humans casually consuming biological weapons and treating deadly environments like vacation resorts. Chef Min-ho expanded his menu to include dishes designed specifically to horrify alien observers. His signature item was called concentrated death spore soup with extra toxins. It was perfectly safe for humans and tasted like chicken noodle soup, but the name alone caused several alien species to require medical attention. As Hyun-woo prepared to leave Kepler 442c and return to his normal duties, he reflected on how much had changed. The humans had taught the galaxy that survival was not just about avoiding danger, but about adapting to make the impossible possible. "Thank you for showing us a new way to explore the universe," he told Captain Bo-Ra during his farewell visit. "Thank you for helping us share our discoveries," she replied. "Though I still do not understand why everyone finds our lifestyle so remarkable, we are just doing what humans have always done." "What is that?" he asked. She gestured toward the thriving Colony where families lived happily in their toxic paradise, finding beauty in what others fear and making home where others see only death. As his ship departed the system, Hyunwoo watched the planet shrink behind them. Somewhere down there, humans were breathing poison and calling it perfume, eating toxins and calling them delicacies, raising children in conditions that would horrify most of the galaxy. And somehow they had made it all seem perfectly normal. Humanity had found their place among the stars not by conquering the galaxy, but by showing everyone else that home could be anywhere if you had the courage to adapt and the wisdom to find joy in the impossible.